Hello and welcome to International Affairs, proudly broadcasting from the SATV's Gulshan studio, live from Dhaka, Bangladesh. My name is Shamsul Alam Pantha as I bring you the breaking updates from around the globe. Before I do so, I must introduce all my panelists. In the studio, we have Mr. Ali Ahmed, a member customs of the National Board of Revenue, has appeared on numerous occasions on this very program. I welcome him on a Monday. Sir, it's good to have you in the studio. Alongside, we will have our international correspondent, our geopolitical correspondent, Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington, District of Columbia. He shall be joining us momentarily. Some of the news that includes today, very important. Iran is stating that its new supreme leader is the son of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Mojtaba Khamenei. He's going to be Iran's new supreme leader. Of course, this appointment of Mojtaba, a mid-ranking cleric, is with close ties with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. So all of this is very important. Late last night, we have seen how the skies over Tehran has turned pitch dark, and it was raining toxic chemicals as the war continues on to its second week. Of course, there is other updates as well that I want to mention. It is U.S. side, and the U.S. military has recorded its 8th military personnel whose life has been taken in the actions towards this war. I want to begin with Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington, District of Columbia. What are the updates that you have on your desk? As I was reading out, the Iranians have confirmed that the new supreme leader is Mojtaba Khamenei. More from Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington, D.C.
Morning. It's 4 a.m. here, and the city is will be waking up to the news of the loss of another serviceman, the eighth serviceman, I believe, passed away
Right.
in Saudi Arabia. The family will be notified. So as we move on, the death toll, the impact of this is affecting the common American citizen every day. The other issue is coming up is that the price of oil has skyrocketed in the last, I guess, couple of hours. Is up to
Live program,
$118
yes, a live
a
program,
barrel.
yeah, live program,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's increasing, and I suspect as the sunrise here in Washington, the prices will go up, and it's having a profound effect on the economy. I believe Bangladesh is going to be affected by this directly with the cost of going up, and we're looking at additional costs, the additional prices rising as we speak. So right now the war is intensifying. They have a new, like I said, we have a new leader who is a hardliner. The son of the Ayatollah is taking over, and that spells bad news for Washington.
Right.
Uh, so right now we're preparing. The president has made some comments about him being the new leader being also taken out. That is not faring well with the general population on how we addressing this issue. But the fear now, the market's going to be affected by this. The economy, the price of everything is going to go up. So right now we are preparing for this economic boom uh, in terms of cost to affect the economy here in the United States. At the same time, trying to figure out a way how to deal with this. But it appears from all standards that we are now in for a long uh, conflict with Iran. It may be longer than uh, uh, anticipated. Some people say September. Some people say it may be as long as the situation going on with Ukraine. So we're standing by waiting to see. But right now, we're looking at $1 billion a day is costing the United States. They're spending to participate in this war.
Of course, very important updates coming from Norman Flood Barnes. I just wanted to add some of the details According to various news officials as well as Pentagon officials, the U.S. Military has spent about $6 billion US in the first week of the Iran war. Of course, almost $4 billion of these $6 billion was used in direct munitions expenditures and advanced interceptors designed to shoot down Iranian drones and missile barrages. A very important update as I read it out. I want to come to the studio with Ali Ahmed. Sir, you were hearing Norman Floyd Barnes. The U.S. side has stated that the 8th person has been killed in action regarding this Iranian war. But however, the casualties on the Iranian side is far grander than one can imagine. Ali Jafarian, who is the Deputy Health Minister of Iran, spoken to the media in multiple countries, and he said more than 12,000 people have been wounded and 1,200 people have been killed. 168 children were killed in the Minab elementary school attack. I want to understand the economic impact, the humanistic impact. How are you seeing this?
First of all, yes, it's a huge death toll. But then again, both the USA and Israel, they indiscriminately bombed on open spaces, on people start walking along the streets and all those, including a girls' school where girls of age between 8 and 12, they have been killed, so many hundreds, and it is a war crime. Now, both the sides, the sides means on the Iranians, on the Israeli side, both Israel doesn't say anything, but US says, Donald Trump said that we have not done it. Then who has done it? This is a war crime, definitely by any standard. So this should be added for inquiry by the International Criminal Court. This is one thing, and their indiscriminate bombing naturally led to many more deaths, especially at the opening day. There was no talk of war. In fact, both the sides appeared. The Iranians really believed, and the other side, American and Israeli side, they pretended that they have almost arrived at a conclusion, and both sides said, yes, we are very close to a conclusion. Suddenly there has been a war, a bombardment, an attack without any warning, and it has been established by international media already that it was Israel that began and then followed immediately by the USA. So the Iranian side were not busy at all, was not busy prepared at all. So their death toll has been far higher naturally. But this is unfortunate but true.
Of course, one must understand the casualties and the numbers and how it is happening. It is not only in Iran, we've also seen an incident in the Indian Ocean in which an Iranian vessel was attacked. Over 100 sailors had lost their life.
That is nearly 1,000 nautical miles from the Indian Ocean, but from the Sri Lankan coast. So there was no business. That means it's a pure enmity, and it is an all-out war.
Of course,
So
and it was the first instance of it was happening in international waters,
Yes.
and the first time ever since the end of World War II. And that is why it is important to understand how far we are going to see an escalation between all of these actors and all of these various nations. I must come back to Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington, D.C. I know you were hearing the conversation we were having here in the studio. Indiscriminate bombing has turned the skies above Tehran dark, pitch dark during the very opening day. However, there are casualties not only in Tehran. I want to focus in Lebanon, in Lebanon and Beirut as well. We see almost 400 killed and over 1,000 people injured in the ongoing Israeli attacks. As we speak from this very studio, these attacks are happening in a broad daylight. I want to understand the fuel prices per barrel has gone up above $100 ever since the last 2022 when we saw the Ukraine-Russia war unfolding. This is definitely going to be a hard time for common Americans who are going to try to buy and purchase oil. Over here in Bangladesh, over the last 3 to 4 days, we have been seeing long queues at various petrol stations. I believe that the entire world is still very much dependent on crude oil or sourcing it from the Middle East, even though there are solar technology and innovations that outnumber the need and requirement for crude oil. I want to ask Norman Floyd, what is your observation? How do you see this unfolding? What is in the future days?
But I want to put in one word before he
Sure,
does.
please.
The Bangladesh government has declared that there would be no enhancement of oil prices.
Yes, as of yesterday, they have said.
So that is one good factor for Bangladesh.
Of course, as Ali Ahmed pointed out, there shall be no price increase. However, the scare, the fact of putting in the word rationing has caused massive lines at petrol stations anyway, regardless. So I want to ask Norman Floyd, what is your predictions for the upcoming months and weeks that this war continues?
Thank you for the question, but my prediction is more of a my observations. Currently, the Strait of Hormuz is a choke point for energy for the world. 20% of the world trade and commerce goes through the area. Um, as of this morning, Iran has blocked that for all traffic, all ships. They say they will bomb, they will destroy, they will mine any ship trying to come through the area. I think except for Pakistan, China, and one other country, they are permitted to go through that area. Well, this is going to have a global impact on the world, on trade and commerce. Everything in the world is going to be affected because that area, that little strait controls trade and commerce globally. So routes will have to be changed. Costs going goes up. The insurance of premiums goes up. The likelihood of sabotage, the likelihood of other type of things globally, since we have this submarine situation, will increase. I predict that it will have more problems globally from this area. The countries in the on the global the countries in the Gulf, they're already affecting Kuwait, whatever, they're losing $1 billion a day. We do not have the figures in from the UAE, but this is a very costly conflict. It's going to affect everyone in the world. Everybody has trade and commerce issues. There'll be delays. There'll be certain situations that will lose the energy. Europe is going to suffer. South America, everybody's going to be severely affected by this conflict in the Middle East. Pressure is going to be on Washington to basically stop this, but as you see, the Trump administration has a mission, and they are not going to divert from the mission. The average person here in the United States is going to feel the pinch because we're already suffering from the tariffs, but now with the oil and everything else going up, prices going up, we're going to see drastic prices in gasoline, and people will have to make real decisions on exactly how they're going to survive day to day, putting pressure on Congress, but Congress is now in a situation where they have to provide and back the president. And like I said, we're spending $1 billion a day right now to participate in this situation. And now we see no end right now. We don't see any end. My prediction is that we'll be talking about this a year from now. The same thing we're doing right now, we'll be in this process because now we're getting into an economic war situation, and there will be gray war situations going on, the artificial intelligence, the cyber security issues, the critical infrastructure protection will now be challenged. We're going to see the next phase will be the infrastructures, the energy infrastructures. And this is going to really affect because we was talking about winter. Now we're moving into spring and to summer in some of the hottest areas of the world, the Middle East in the summer, and they will not have access to water, food, and energy. This is going to cause a tremendous impact on how we operate globally.
Of
And the
course.
military situation, we don't know because right now they're talking about boots on the ground, but that will be a very dangerous situation. And the winners of that will not, actually, I don't see any winners of that. There will be a long, protracted war, similar like we're doing in Ukraine, and there will be many casualties. We have 8 right now. that number could be 1,000 times that if we do that. There's conversations already about the war, about instituting the draft.
Right.
Yes, the draft in the United States. If we go to war, they're looking at draft. That's going to affect the Gen Zs. So we have a whole lot of global issues manifesting from this situation. So right now, like I mentioned before, my famous word, we're in a hot mess. Well, we're in a hotter mess right now.
Very important updates coming from Norman Floyd Barnes. Of course, he had mentioned about the ecological impact it's going to have when summer arrives in the Middle East. I must go for a short commercial break. After the break, we shall discuss more about this new world order. Ladies and gentlemen, do stay tuned on International Affairs. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them.
Testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
they will face better projects.
With President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
Opening an open war conflict with them.
Testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on International Affairs. Today, I'm joined by Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington, D.C., as well as Ali Ahmed here in the studio. I want to ask this following question with Ali Ahmed. The economies of scale, that has been very important in understanding who is ahead of this war. We know that there is no clear winner when two sides are contesting in such a confrontational manner. One of the metrics that I picked out was the drones that Iran is using to attack various countries, various bases. They're cheap to make and they cost much less than what we see from the US side. Some of these missiles cost in the highs up in the millions. So I want to understand the economies of scale, as you are an economist and you would understand what is happening in the warfield.
Here there is an interesting thing. Say supposing 20 or 25 or 100 drones they are unleashed by the Iranians. Of this, say 50 is very fake and cheap. They cannot do any harm. But it is very difficult for others, outsiders, to know. So all these drones start running towards the target in Israel or Israeli targets outside the main city, and they they set their missiles. Missiles cost millions a piece, but these drones, $10,000, $5,000, nothing compared to a billion. So this is one way. This saving the defense is far more expensive, and these are all bought from the USA.
Right.
Though they are together, but you have to buy it. Problem is, USA has already supplied a lot to the Ukraine, and therefore USA itself is running short of these missiles. So if the war continues like this, and if this missile and policies of these continue, then there would be a problem.
Right.
And please don't forget that Iran helped Israel before, Russia before. Russia is now helping them.
Yes, Russia is
And
providing
one
intel.
important thing, the foreign minister of the the foreign minister of the China Republic, foreign minister very said, there should not have been this war. That means this war is unreasonable, without any cause, and forcibly imposed on Iran. That it all implies that. So I don't know where finally things will go.
Of course, it started in Christmas when the U.S. forces tried to attack a terrorist camp or suspected a terrorist camp in Nigeria. And following this theatrical appearance, we've seen what they have done in Venezuela, and today it is Iran. Some are saying it could be Ecuador or Cuba in the coming days. I want to come with Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington, D.C. Because of this war, many friendly ties have been severed. Of course, I am talking about the UK and the US in relationship with Iran. The UK Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper said Britain will not outsource its foreign policy decisions, pushing back against criticism from US President Donald Trump. Of course, this is over the government's stance on the military action involving Iran. I want to get a comment from Norman Floyd Barnes. Before you do that, sir, there is also another rhetoric I want to talk about. In the UAE, the corner state Fujairah is at the tip, sharing with Strait of Hormuz and then, of course, Iran. In that very location in the UAE, there is to be a Fujairah oil industry zone. It was created as a means to bypass the Strait of Hormuz, which has been under attack by the Iranian drones. It sends a very subtle message that one cannot ignore Iran in its regional attendance. I want to understand more from Norman Floyd Barnes.
Greetings. Yes, I'm very familiar with that region. Actually, I have to actually visit that region. It was designed, as you stated, to bypass the strait. Unfortunately, this is having a severe effect on them. They're being attacked. We're expecting more attacks there, and the country itself, the UAE, is now trying to strategize how they're going to move forward as we move forward. The oil prices are skyrocketing as we spoke. We got off there. It just went up again a couple points. China, Russia, and the rest of the world is watching this, and they are basically trying to gauge on exactly what's the next step. Iran is in a situation where they will suffer. They're going to be suffering because of the military attack. But the economic part is going to add additional stresses on their already challenging government and their society over there. The people are hurting. The people going to be a situation, that whole area is going to become a cesspool for this destruction and despair. Food, water, energy, all these things are going to be held up as part of this war. And the hardliners, new administration that comes in, the new Ayatollah is coming in, has to make decision. Do he continue with his hardline approach, which appears that that's going to happen, or do he find a option how to get out of this situation? That's another option. But the situation in the Middle East, the Gulf state, will never be the same again. As we speak, things are trending to another paradox of how the world is operating. The United States, the Western world, the Asian world, the other part, is now transitioning into a new way of looking at things and how they're going to do business. So everything from the past, you can just throw that away. It cannot exist in the new world as we speak right now. The world is changing and is not going to go back. We're not going to have a reset. We're not going to have a situation where everybody's go back to their where they used to be. No, it has to move forward because it's critical. The infrastructure issues, the energy issues, and the possibility of being attacked by another country and not supported by your former allies is high. So everybody has to now take and look at the situation. How do I protect my own issue? Bangladesh, a new country with a new government, has to look at how do you position yourself in this global change, what's going on. There's no easy way out. There's no safeguard. You can't depend on China, US, Russia, North Korea, anybody else. You have to depend on yourself. So you have to make provisions in place, make decisions how to move forward, and you have to protect your interests. So right now the issue is every country has to figure out how do I protect my interests going on for the next 10, 15, 20, 50 years. Because right now everything has shifted and the normal is abnormal right now.
That is an excellent way of putting it. The normal is a very abnormal way happening all around the world, including Bangladesh. Very important updates from Norman. Last comments by Ali Ahmed. I want to get your last comments regarding the worldly situation as well as Bangladesh. There was news that our Prime Minister yesterday, before leaving the Secretariat, has made a very slight comment that said, let's go to war. And that's what the news agencies have picked out. I'm sure he is in the know-hows of understanding how to steer Bangladesh. What is your observation before I can end the program?
Yes, Bangladesh, these are very expensive, costly wars, and these do not directly affect us. So Bangladesh will naturally will try to steer clear of involvement in the war itself. But we have our sympathies for Iran and the suffering people. But still, we have to think of our people first. And the immediate impact of the war is the price of oil. It has risen up very high all over the world. It has crossed $100 per barrel 2-3 days before it's now above that. So Bangladesh has to try it, but we know the pricing of Bangladeshi fuel has always been done in a way that the Bangladesh government has some margin in it. So the very wisely, I should say, the new government of Mr. Tariq Rahman has done very well to announce that Bangladesh will not go for any enhancement of the prices.
Right.
That is going to be a relief to the people. Otherwise, other essentials, say vegetables, fish, rice, these are not going to be affected directly by this because of our connection, our road communications, riverine communications and all those. So right. I think we will go well for some time with all these things, but if it is a long drawn out process, then we, like the rest of the world, are bound to be affected. So you want that the war is justly put an end to as soon as possible.
Of course, I enjoy hosting you, sir, regarding your optimism of the current government. It's frankly new, and there is a huge uncertainty not only here in Bangladesh but all over the world regarding what is going to happen in the coming days. I must thank Mr. Ali Ahmed for his valuable contributions and time here on the program, as well as Norman Floyd Barnes joining us from Washington, D.C. I must thank him as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. I shall catch you all on tomorrow with the breaking updates from all around the world. Thanking you all for joining on International Affairs.